These are some fragrances I've been wearing a lot recently, especially over the last year or so. I'm in a very lucky position to own Visionary Fragrances, my sample website, so I have a lot of fragrances, a massive variety to choose from. But these 8 are some that I just gravitate to all the time. Starting off with a very fresh and easy to wear fragrance I wear to the gym a lot. This is Chanel's Allure Homme Sport Cologne. This one is not spoken about as much as the Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme and Allure Homme Sport. This is much more citrusy, fresh, and as the name suggests, has a much more cologne feeling than the other 2 fragrances I just mentioned. This is like a typical man's or masculine cologne, very citrusy, musky, and it's really clean and easy to wear. Should you wear a fragrance to the gym? It's really up to you. I typically wear one. I normally wear like 2 or 3 sprays of this. I don't think this is going to offend anyone. If you wear a very clean, citrusy, well put together fragrance, you're not going to offend anyone wearing something like Chanel's Allure Homme Sport Cologne. So up next we have a winter boozy fragrance that I absolutely love, and that is Stronger With You. Absolutely. I have been wearing this a lot, especially as it's been really cold here in Europe. It's been snowing, and this is a very warming and boozy fragrance to wear. It's quite a mature fragrance in the Stronger With You family. Most of the Stronger With You lines, such as Intensely, the original, Freeze to some extent, are very sweet and quite youthful. This one is much more mature, and for that reason I really like it. This has amber, chestnut, sweetness with a hint of rum. Absolutely beautiful, and one I've been wearing a lot this winter. So going out, when I'm dressing up, going out, I want to make an impression. I want a stronger fragrance that sort of projects my confidence, or gives me confidence if you like. If I'm wearing nicer clothes, I want an extra confident and head-turning fragrance to make a good impression. So Carlisle is one that I always gravitate to whenever I'm going out, just to dinner, to a bar, to a party, anything like that. There are so many fragrances I could choose from, but I always gravitate to Carlisle. This for me is the best in the Parfums de Marly lineup, and it hasn't been dented that much in the recent reformulations. I am going to do a video review in the next 2 weeks or so comparing this is the new version of Carlisle versus an older batch that I've got in my collection. Carlisle still is a very strong and potent but smooth fragrance. It's very sweet. You have this beautiful green apple opening. It's spicy green apples, so you have like nutmeg and apple together. Then you have patchouli and vanilla with spices, and it has this tobacco-like note. Tobacco is not a listed note in Carlisle, but for me, I pick up tobacco. It's beautiful, and it's a head turner, and it's a fragrance that gives me confidence, and I think it will give you confidence as well if you wear it. So Carlisle is a fragrance I wear when I'm going out, and another fragrance I might wear when I'm going out, but this one works really well on a date night as well, and my girlfriend loves this, which is a bonus, and that is Absolute Aphrodisiac by Initio. This could be my favorite Initio fragrance. This one is very vanilla-like. I love vanilla in fragrances. It's one of my favorite fragrance notes, and this is one of the best vanilla fragrances I've ever tried. It's very realistic vanilla. It's not too sweet and synthetic. It smells really natural. Also, you have white flowers and a touch of animalic notes in here, so it has this sort of masculine edge to it, although it's completely unisex. But a lot of the time, vanilla fragrances can lean towards the feminine market, but because of the added animalic notes, this leans completely unisex. This is beautiful, sweet, really lasts on my skin a long time, and like I said, it's a fragrance that surprisingly my girlfriend really likes. When I went to Krakow a couple of months ago, I only took about 2 or 3 fragrances with me. I went for like 4 days. I took DIOR Eau Sauvage Parfum with me because I wanted something that I could wear in any situation, whether it's going out at night, whether it's in the daytime. I wanted something strong that would last all day and that's timeless, classic, and just could be worn at any situation, and that is why I chose this. For me, this is a timeless classic fragrance that any man should have in their collection. It does have a slightly mature vibe to it, so if you're quite young and you've only just got into fragrances, I'd suggest looking at things like the Stronger With You line, perhaps Yves Saint Laurent Y. But this one, once you get a bit more experience with fragrances, or if you're slightly older, a bit more mature, you could get this and it's going to smell fantastic. This is like an old school man's fragrance, but it has this modern vibe to it. It just smells really crisp, clean, and very well put together. It's sharp citruses with aromatic notes and myrrh notes. So it's fresh, but also has some depth to it. It's one of those fragrances that you can wear in the summer, but also they last a long time. A lot of the time, citrus fragrances, such as Chanel's Allure Homme Sport Cologne, don't last very long. They're mainly top note heavy, and once those top notes fade away, the fragrance is almost gone. But this has a lot of depth and a lot of character and lasts on my skin all day. How could I make a list of fragrances that I wear all the time? without including my all-time favorite fragrance, and that is Louis Vuitton Imagination. Now, I wanted to say something here. Because I own Visionary Fragrances UK, I have a lot of fragrances at my disposal, but they're for the website. They're my fragrances, but of course they are for sale as well. There are some fragrances though that I have in my own collection that are not for sale, and I bought this for my 30th birthday last year. I bought a bottle of Imagination for myself, not one that's ever going to be sold. It's just my own personal fragrance that I can wear whenever I want, and that's because I love it so much. It's a fragrance that I think is just a big part of me, and it's a fragrance that as long as Louis Vuitton keep making it, which I hope they do, I'm always going to buy, I'm always going to wear. This is a fragrance similar to Dior Eau Sauvage Parfum in the fact that you can wear it to pretty much any situation, and it's a strong fragrance that lasts all day. There are not many fresh fragrances that do that. There are not many fresh fragrances that project and last all through the day like Imagination does. This is a very realistic, juicy, ultra high quality fragrance, and for me it's the best summer citrus fragrance that you can buy, and I'd really recommend trying it if you like that type of fragrance because of the strength and the projection and the compliment factor. It's not a fragrance that I'd recommend you just for the summer. It's a fragrance you can wear all year round. Whenever you want something super vibrant and fresh, just something to wear to any situation, this has got you covered. Louis Vuitton Imagination, worth the hype in my opinion. It's fantastic. So the last two fragrances then, fragrances I've been wearing a lot recently. Le Male Elixir is one. I wore this a lot when it first came out. I think it came out in like June last year, and I wore it a lot because I wanted to do a couple of review videos, which I did. But now I find it so addictive. It's such a beautiful fragrance. It's the most enjoyable Le Male fragrance that I've got currently, and it's the one that I'd always wear. So I have all of them. I have Le Male Le Parfum, Ultra Male. I've got the Le Beau series, but this one is the Jean Paul Gaultier that I always gravitate to. You have that original Le Male structure in there, but it has a bit more masculine depth. You have this woody tobacco note, not necessarily a tobacco note that you can recognize, but it's woody. It has a masculine depth, I would say. You also have a lovely bit of sweetness from honey. You get good performance from this as well, and it's just a very addictive fragrance that is pretty much very versatile all year round. I wouldn't recommend it in the really high heat, but apart from that, it's perfect. Now the last one, a fragrance I always gravitate to when I want to smell really classy and I'm going out somewhere. It doesn't have to be on a fancy night out or a restaurant. It can just be going out outside my apartment, you know, and I want to smell really well put together and refined. I think Tom Ford Ombre Leather works so well in any situation. This can be dressed up and dressed down. I always thought of this as a really classy and sophisticated fragrance, which kind of made me think that I'd only wear it when I'm dressed up, going out, and just want that added bit of confidence like we talked about with Carlisle. But I went to Berlin with a couple of my friends, and we were just walking around outside in the morning time, very casual, and my friend was wearing this. It just smelled amazing. It was in the winter, in February last year, and it kept projecting off him. It smelled amazing. It really filled the air with this beautiful aura, and since then I've really come to appreciate and love Ombre Leather for what it is. There are some similarities, of course, to Tuscan Leather, being they're both Tom Ford leather fragrances, and I would say because of the price difference, I would go for this over Tuscan Leather. So these 8 fragrances that I wear all the time, out of the hundreds of fragrances at my disposal, these are 8 that I always gravitate to. So hopefully that tells you something. Let me know, out of this list, what fragrance would you pick and why would you wear it? And in your collection, is there 1 or 2 fragrances that you always gravitate to, and what are they? I'll see you soon.